Okay, Ari. Let me see your drawing real quick. Let me go to it. I hate when that happens. Let me go to your drawing. Let me go to your drawing. Jesus Christ, I just... There we go. Okay. So let me see what you got here, Ari. Let me see what you got, hon. Okay, Teach, would it be possible to show how I would draw this hairstyle on the girl's head where she is pouring out water of the can? Okay, let me see. Oh, the hair is short, so this should be easy to deal with. So let me see. This is the same girl with the hair. The pouring thing again. I keep saving it, even though I already have it. Dumbass. Alright, let me see. Okay. Let me make this fast. So, what we should do, depending on how you drew it, we're going to... Oh, no. There we go. So, oh, too hard to see. There we go. So, what we're going to do, let's just say this is the character, this is the head. Alright, this is technically the head at this point of time. Okay. Cool. Now, what we need to do is...
Ariane. I think what's confusing me is the hair around her ear looks like she has sideburns almost.
On which one? The one with the short hair, correct? You're referring to? Not the long hair one. I'm pretty sure you're referring to the short hair one. It is technically a sideburn because everyone has this. But for females, it's usually like this. But because her hair kind of overlaps that,
Ariane.
so it goes like this.
Yes, the one with the short hair.
Like that. So like the hair just wraps around in that sense. So like, let me go back a little bit, make it easier for you to see. Let me clean it up a little bit. Oh. Like that. We gotta make this like that. If this was like this. Good. Alright, so we did that. Now what we need to do, I'm going to use a different color so you can see it better, so it won't be a big black scribbles everywhere, is that I'm going to put the ear here.
Plus her bangs are also kinda of short. And
yes,
I wasn't sure how I'd draw it so the head looks the same size, but not sure if I'd show a little bit of the back of her hair or more of the front of her hair.
No, not really. The hair is one helmet-like looking hairstyle. So all you have to do is make sure everything follows by wrapping around like a helmet. It's technically a helmet at this point. Like that. That's it. You just curve it around and wrap it like that. Now this part here needs to be a little more fixed. Oops. I put everything on the same layer. Don't ever do that. Don't be like your teacher. Don't be like an idiot. Okay, like this.
Says, okay, thanks, this makes more sense.
I'll zoom in for you so you can see it better. There you go. And then this bump, and remember, they're not the same size because the bump here, come in, and then this bump will be a little bit lower to show. It's not like a circle. It's like a, I say like this. Like we have to have. What I'm saying is this. I'll show you in a second. Because if I explain, it's gonna sound like I'm talking Chinese or something. So like, if I put like this, see like that. Let's see these bumps here. 1, 2. They indicate the bumps. And what I mean by the bumps is that did I do it again? No. What I mean by the bumps is this is here. And this is here. So it's going in.
Says, oh yeah, I noticed that on the shorter hairstyles a lot.
Yeah, right here. Because remember, the hairstyle isn't one helmet like this because it doesn't look natural. Your hair is not like a circled thing, like a helmet. When I said a helmet at first, it's just the idea of a helmet, but it's not a helmet. It's like when I taught you the idea of making a arm or a leg, like this is the arm, but it's not supposed to be short. It's not supposed to be this straight on. It's supposed to be organic. So these bumps show the organicism of the hair. Okay, because remember your hair, the roots. This is where the roots are coming from. The roots come from here. This is where I would usually say the dot, because that's where everything's coming out of that dot here. Can make it easier to see like that. It's coming down like that. So
Ariane. Would I also show a little bit of the tips of her around her neck as well? Or is the hair too short to show where her hair ends?
Well, no. Given that the hair swoops around the face, since it swoops around the face, you can show the tip if you want, but you have to make sure it swoops like that, right? So like that, and then like so. And then you just build the roots that goes down. Remember, the roots are going down the hair to the back of the head like this, right? And then make it even more natural, you just put these roots like that. See what I'm saying? Like it gives you a sense of understanding of that everything's going back to the hair here.
Ariane.
Actually, the ears
so I draw
here.
the hair like she's kind of looking sort of down, correct?
That I wouldn't say the word down. It's tilted. The head is tilted. The head is tilted like this. I can tell because the eyes are based on the eyes. So let me show you. So like you see the character, right? And then I'll curve it down like this. Oop. And then the ears are here. So it's like a 3/4 tilt. Because I wouldn't say we're 3/4 tilt. We're looking at from a down, up down perspective. Because we're up in the sky looking down on her. So that means if we're up in the sky looking down at her, our horizon line's at the bottom, if I remember right. Yeah, it's at the bottom.
Says, could you show that blue way you had the hair for a quick second? Couldn't quite see it.
Like this. Just see. I will move some of this like that.
Says thanks.
Yeah. I'll even make it a little more tinted down so you can see the hair specifically, since that's the subject at hand. so you don't get confused with the lines too much. I'll clean it up a little bit more just to make it easier on you. Plus, not only that, the hair is being overlapped. You don't have to draw the ear. The hair overlaps the ear.
Says I didn't realize with her hair that it was curved when I looked at the reference.
Yeah, it's curved. It's never like straight down. Hair is always curving. And remember, hair is such a predictable thing. It's always on a curve. It's never straight. You never will find hair just straight down on your face or on your head. It'll always be curving somewhere down the line. Remember, this is why the idea of the circle, this is why I always say to you guys to learn how to draw at the head with a circle and then wrap it around, because if you treat it as such, it'll feel 3D. If you just put a line on it, it's going to feel awkward. That's why I sometimes do it over again to make sure I got the contouring correct, because once you get the contouring correct, it feels more 3D, as if there's something 3D is there. That's why contouring is very important. So like if I made like a
Arian. Hi C. I found short hair with certain characters. Shorter hair was easier to grasp than trying to learn how to do long hair.
I said this to you. I said this to you, and many students, they'll say, "How do you draw hair?" I said you should always start with short hair first. Short hair is always easy to manage, and also in real life, easier to manage. It's easier to understand. It's not a lot of like it's not like when I draw a lot of anime girls and they have a bunch of this going on and blah blah blah.
Arian.
You know what I'm saying?
LOL face with tears of joy. It's finally kicking in. Your lessons are anyway.
I told you. It's from based on my experience. What you guys are experiencing, what I already experienced, is just I'm trying to get you guys out of that mindset. It does make sense in the long run. It will make sense to you. So like if I drew her with short hair, it's just like shorter hair is just easier to manage, because with short hair, it's just like it's literally short. There's not a lot of thinking behind it. You just have to make sure it looks kind of believable to a certain extent, right? Like you just have to make sure it's coming from the root of the head, and then everything else kind of just falls into place. Even if you're doing it very wonky, like you can tell like it's hair, right? It makes sense. So that's the thing about hair. It's always easy to deal with when it's short, and then progressively go from short hair and then go to more mid-like hair, and then you go for more longer hair that like passes the tuchus. The tuchus. I don't even think TikTok and these new kids know what tuchus even is. I hope that was helpful though. So yeah, it goes from short hair to mid hair to more longer hair.
Arian. Yes, very helpful.
Yeah.
That helped a lot.
I hope that was helpful. Is there anything else you need to know? Are you good?
Arian.
You know, that's the good
Yep,
news,
I'm
right?
good.
You know what's funny? That's the good news. All right. Good, Ari, good. All right, guys, we're going to finish it up. We're going to do this last video here. This is something that Bry's always waiting for. It's his favorite thing about the reactions and stuff. These anime recommendations. So let's get to it. So this is from Spare Mango. I think I did videos. Oh, I did a video of him before. He was the one with all those crazy 90s like effects and stuff where I said, my God, this is disorienting, but I think that's the purpose. I remember his video. It was pretty funny. I think it was a dude who was getting cheated on by his girlfriend, but it was not really being cheated on. It was some type of convoluted reason why she left him, but it was not a cheating of reason.
Says do Gojo smiley face.
Oh, I'm already doing that. Did it twice. but was not happy with the result with this, so I'm redoing it. Funny. Anyway, so let's do this. So let's hit it.
Manga recommendation videos are all the same. We
Says
always
O.
hear about the same manga that we've known about for years. So here are some brand new, underrated manga that you need to read. Ogami is a world-class assassin, bad bitch for a wife, with a daughter and his own sidekick to assist him. He's the #1 hitman in the world, except he's divorced, lonely, never graduated middle school, and he might be slightly autistic.
Slightly? Wait, did we do this video?
Kill Blue follows a legendary hitman sent on a secret undercover mission.
I don't know if we did this video. This was 7 days ago, so I can't tell if this is new or not.
Says
As
what?
a middle schooler. On a mission, Ogami
Oh no,
gets
not
stung
you.
with a
Not
poison.
you, Gocho. We're doing a reaction over here on YouTube. As you guys are watching on TikTok as I do this on live. You guys can't hear it on TikTok because
Says
TikTok
Gojo
is
is
a
my
pansy,
favorite
so
character.
you can go over here if you want to hear the video, or whatever the case may be. YouTube, Twitch, Trovo, whatever platform you want to watch it from, you can watch it, even from Twitter if you like. So yeah, we're doing anime recommendations. That's our last video for today, so we're about to finish up.
That causes his body to change back to when he was a kid. Not only does he have to
did
deal
this
with his
video.
undercover mission, he's also a socially awkward old man who doesn't understand socializing. His mission is to find this girl and get in close to try to infiltrate her family's company and find the cure for his illness. The
like the
issue
smile,
is, everyone else wants to get in too. Nah, that sounds so fucking weird. Ogami has to fight off
we did this
world-class,
video.
legendary assassins with his 12-year-old body, protecting this girl from her pursuers,
Yeah, we did
all
this
the
video.
while
Hell
keeping
no.
up his
Yeah, we did this video. Yep, I remember this video. We did this. Nope, I am not going to. Arx needs to stop. Why is this 7 days ago? Did you re-upload the same video? That's weird. I really feel like you upload the same video. Why do I... We've seen this video. Huh. That's weird. That is so weird. Hold on. I remember this video. I'm like, wait. Manga recommendations. That one's 47 minutes. I'm not sitting there for 47 minutes.
Ariane. Actually, I'm sorry, I forgot to ask one last thing. How do I draw the eyes of her head is sort of at a tilt.
Oh, hold on. You're lucky because I have to restart. 8 manga. 8 manga to get into. This is from the Masked
Lord, for
Man.
only you know the way.
Okay.
No, it doesn't apply to this god.
Okay. Before we start this video, let me go straight to the answering that question because I didn't delete the video. So when you make the face, what you need to do is make sure that the eyes, remember you're wrapping
Ariane.
the line around.
I've seen a couple of Pinterest images that show it, but they tilt the head too much.
Like this. You have to make sure that the eyes are abiding to the rules of the curve itself. Because if you don't, it's going to look like they're kind of just on there. You don't want that to happen. That's not fun. Especially you end up
Says
stylizing.
WSP, I'm tired even if I got 12 hours of sleep.
Hey, the great Papyrus. I hope you're having an awesome day. Sorry you got some lack of sleep. Hope you're doing well, my dude. So like, yeah, so you just curve it based on, you have to curve this because you have to be respectful to that of the shape, meaning the head, or so. And then that's when, oops, Okay. Like,
Says cause with these I try to draw the eyes to match the shape and size of the head.
Shape and the size of it. Okay, so let me see. Here, make the eyes. Let me show you.
Says I try drawing Gojo, but I always have trouble with the chin.
Yeah, the chin tends to be very narrow. I came to learn that very badly because with Gojo has a very small but narrow chin. You gotta make sure that's a thing. I don't even like the smile on this face. It looks really weird. It looks like from some... Ugh. Let me get rid of the mouth. No, I'm not happy with it. I don't like how it looks. I do not like how that looks.
Be a support hero today.
But anyway, so
by
like...
using commands like /donation and /cash
so like
app.
Curve, wrap around, like that, and then you put... I usually put eyes as a placeholder, but since you're trying to make the eyes, I don't know if you're still trying to draw the eyes like looking down, like they do, because the eyes are like this. Okay.
Ariane. Cause sometimes I have to size the eyes down if they're too big, especially if they're on a tilt sometimes.
Yes, you have to size them down. They have to be the same size, but I wouldn't think the word size is the right word. You have to slant them. You have to slant the eyes, like slant particularly this eye here. Like this, and then make this seem more like easy to see compared to its brother here. Sometimes I look at the image and copy the chin, and it turns out good. Good. Okay, so that's pretty much what it is. You just gotta be mindful of the wrapping of the eyes here, and then be like 1 and then 2. Wrap around them and try to make 2 of them, so you try to keep them pretty consistent between each other within the circle process, the circling, or the
says I'm not
contouring.
gonna like
Does that
Gojo
mean I should
hair is
draw the
pretty
box where
hard
I'd place
to
the
make.
eyes sort of curved?
If you're drawing it like a box, then it's gonna be a little more difficult. That's why I use something more rounded. But if you're not doing any preciseness, it's gonna be off anyway. If you're not using any like actual perspective lines or anything like that, it's gonna still feel off. That's why I would use something more circular. I would only use squares if we're trying to be very precise. So like
Ariane. That's what I was asking.
Yeah, I would not use a box.
I learned a box method was to help align the eyes or something like that.
It can, but it's usually there for preciseness. And what's going to happen is that if you have it precise, then everything else should be just as precise. And if everything else is not as precise, if you have one thing precise, everything looks off. It's like if everything looks off, nothing looks off. But if one thing looks nice and everything looks off, everything looks off. Does that make sense? It's like this. If it's like negative and positive, it's like negative makes a positive, positive makes a positive, but negative and positive make a negative. If I say that right. So like if you had one perfect eye, like if you have a perfect aligned eye, but the head is not aligned correctly, it's gonna feel off by default. But if the head is aligned and the eyes are aligned and everything's aligned correctly, it won't feel off. But if everything's aligned and the eyes are off, you'll see it.
Ariane.
Does that make sense?
Yes, much more sense now. Thanks.
That's why I would say
If
use a
something is off,
circle.
I can correct it till it looks correct.
Yeah, but that what leads to this problem, because when you keep trying to correct it to look perfect, it might look perfect after times of correction, but now something looks off with that perfection of correction. Then you're like, this is why I did what I did. That's why I start over with this Gojo drawing and said, okay, it looks right, but I can see that the hair is off and it's just not working. So that's why I said, you know what, I'm gonna start over again. I'm not gonna sell this to you and not stop it till I get something that seems decent and together in a cohesive way that feels right. Does that make sense?
Says, isn't Gojo's hair just spiky?
Yes. No, 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 no. It depends on the angle. It really depends on the angle. It seems spiky based on the angling. So like for instance, his hair will look like this, right? And then one instance, his hair will look like this.
Arian. His hair is sort of spiky but also kind of flat and curved.
Yeah, it's curved and flat but yet spiky. So you have to, it depends on the angling. They drew him in, and this is why I said the other day, you have to draw his hair in a very specific type of way. You just can't just draw his hair. Because when I was drawing him the first time, everyone kept on assuming that it was Megami. Even when I wasn't even done. They just kept on thinking it was Megami. Because of the hair. And I noticed that the reason why people think it's Megami, because it was not as much spikes because Megami has like 4 prongs of spikes, or 4 or 5. Gojo has 6 to 8. So you have to keep that in place. If you don't get it right, it's gonna look off. So yeah, that's where that comes in.
Arian. LOL, I guess this sort of hair can be a little tricky to draw. Hey.
Yeah, to a certain extent. Because it has to be very I won't say the word precise. It just has to get you just gotta get the look right till it works.
Says, yeah, and people said last time when I made his hair, people were like,
Is that
Naruto?
Naruto? Yep, I know. They like doing that, and 9 times out of 10, you're not even finished. That's the stuff that I hate too. They'll do that. They'll do that stupidness. Like, okay, let me use an example here. Like, there's okay, let me use another example as I'm showing it on the screen on phone. So like his hair looks like this, right? But we're looking directly at him, right? But when we're looking from more of a down angle.
That voice
Says,
LMAO.
what do you use to search up the photos? You better not be using Microsoft Bing.
Ew, no. The hell? What you take me for? What kind of artist you take me for? No, I'm using Pinterest and Google Chrome. From this angle here, his hair is going downwards with like 2 curves going up.
Arian.
And then this one,
LMAO.
If his hair is like this, if not white, you might think it, well, I wouldn't say Megami, but like it looks like another character. So like you have to get really specific. Like if you don't do it right, it'll look weird. See how it still look like Gojo, but it's like the hair's going down. But I can go back to that one picture here, and his hair is spiked when you look directly at him.
Says his hair looks kind of messy though.
Yeah, that's the point. It depends on where you're watching, where you're seeing his. It depends on the angle itself. Because, like, you can have it like this, and it looks like Gojo. But you can still have it like this, and it looks like Gojo. You gotta have it really specific. In such a way, based on where the roots of the hair is coming from. Alright, so with that said, guys, this is from...
Ooh, the precision of an artist.
Yeah,
it's a love-hate relationship sometimes, LOL.
Yeah, you have no idea. Okay, this came out a day ago from the Max Man. This is new, so I know this is not going to be in this only 13 minutes, thank God. So anyway, this is 8 manga you want to read, or you may want to. It's 8 manga you to get you started from the Mask Man. So let's see what he says.
I'm going to try expanding my reach a bit more by talking about some different stuff. I really want to do a video on comics soon since I've been wanting to talk about Kingdom Come and Immortal Hulk for a while now. In my efforts for world domination, I decided to try something other than manga or manhwa, and that is manhwa, but spelled differently. I selected 8 different ones that caught my eye, so by the end of this video, we will see if indeed China number 1.
China number 1!
天上太阳红呀红彤彤儿，心中的太阳。
Feng Shengji has 182 chapters, following Emperor Shang, a man that has declared war on the gods to bring them to an end and bring about the Age of Man, as is foretold in the prophecy. However, this is not his story, but instead his son's story, who witnesses his father be defeated by the gods and is also killed, but is given a second chance at life thanks to his mother, who's actually...
Strangers Chapter 1.
Spring into savings this moving season with Pods. Save up to 25% now on moving and storage and see why Pods has been trusted with over 6 million moves. But don't wait. Save up to 25%.
Actually a god in disguise.
I'm not gonna lie, The Strangers is a different type of horror. It is evil for the sake of evil. If you've seen Strangers 1 and 2, you know what I'm talking about.
Guys, awakening in a new body, he's taken in as a mining slave, and so begins his journey to rise.
I think that's more terrifying than the idea of just some ghost behind the thing trying to kill you or eat you or scare you.
Is up and claim vengeance on the gods who killed his mother and father. You sort of get lost in the sauce with this story by the end of the series, but looking back at where Ah Go or Wu Gang, the true main character of the story, began, he really grows as a character a lot, and on top of that, the series ends up giving a good amount of really interesting side characters with their own bones to pick with the gods. And before I say the names of my favorite characters, my Chinese pronunciation could be classified as a hate crime, so just, you know, just lower your expectations. I'll try this one. Okay, my personal favorites being Ni Tian and Xixing. The structure of the fight reminds me a lot of Bleach, where you'll have 5 to 6 fights in the story, which jumps back and forth until the climax, where you end up getting very strong.
I thought Manhwa was strictly Korean. Am I wrong? I thought the term Manhwa means Korean made, not Chinese made. Like you have like manga, you think Japanese. When I hear Manhwa, I think Korean. It can also be Chinese as well? Huh. I'm not saying there's no Chinese people in there working on like a manga.
Same here.
That threw me off. He said Chinese. I was like, I'm just totally off. I know there's people who are Chinese who probably worked on mangas before or manhwas, but like, I thought that was strictly like the idea that this is ultimately made in a Korean country type response. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, like for instance, how we do things, we call Western manga, and we have just manga. Manga usually means it comes originally from Japan because that's the first story. So we don't call it Japanese manga, we call it manga for what it is. And over here on the West, we just call it Western manga to just differentiate to distinguish from each other in that sense. So we know who's who. So we have manhwa, because it'd be kind of like, I guess it'd be just as weird if we said Western manhwa, which I guess that could be a thing, but I don't think that'll roll off the tongue the same. It still doesn't really roll off the tongue the same even as manga, but then again, it is what it is. It just kind of throws me off a little bit. I thought manhwa was just literally a Korean term. I didn't know it was for Chinese as well. Maybe my big American brain can't handle such things.
turning points or resolutions for the characters. I think the artwork in this is really impressive, especially for the cover arts and the close-ups of the face, and if you like damn near non-stop action, then I think you'll love this. There were admittedly certain stretches that lost my interest for a moment, but that is bound to happen when you are focusing on characters you're yet to build an attachment towards, and the dialogue is rough, but I'll mostly attribute that to translation issues, because some lines are hilarious, especially when you read them out loud. Still, despite reading all of this for about a week,
let me read
by the end
that.
of the story it felt weak by the issues, because some lines.
This pair of eyes have recorded all of my father's knowledge and wisdom. There seems to be a great message behind There must be a great message hidden within. Looks like I'll need some time to interpret everything. Wait, what? Okay, I can see how that's funny.
Lines are hilarious, especially when you read them out loud. Still, despite reading all of this for about a week, by the end of the story, it felt like this was something I had been following for a very long time.
Just to be clear. Gojo, you can come over here on YouTube and Twitch so you know what I'm talking about. So it doesn't throw you off if I'm just saying.
Says I always forget the ears, oh my god.
Raiga Samurai. Oh, okay. Smiling face with open mouth and
that threw me off.
Anytime there's something horror related, I feel like I've said this, but horror and I have a weird dynamic.
Says
Love reading it, hate watching it or playing it. Thankfully, I'm a manga and whatever the hell else I'm reading channel and not a gaming one. Shen Z is about a boy who has a weird dream about a ghost town before his birthday. He tells his parents and they freak out, making it way obvious that they know about this place, but they're trying to play it off. Then they end up dead as the fuck, and the weird spirit that was appearing in the boy's dream seems to be responsible. He uncovers his parents' stuff, which reveals they were a part of a research group that found a meteorite near a town that is now abandoned, so he must go there to uncover the truth. Even though this might sound interesting, it's the revelations later on that really got me hooked when he visits the town nearby. The imagery in this manga is really dope. Reminds me a bit of Ajin with the spirits design, and the art style of the characters reminds me a lot of Fujimoto's work. As a horror manhwa, I think it does a pretty good job of making me want to read the next chapter, which is very important to me if I haven't mentioned that 1,000 times before. I'm certain that this one is worth your time, especially since it's very easy to catch up to.
No idea.
Nanhao and Sheng Feng is a comedy series. I covered this I think over 2 years ago, and so if you want my full thoughts or well just more of them, then you could check out this recommendation video. But it's just about two homies and their friends at school doing the dumbest of things, so it's a very easy read. There are some moments later on where the story does get pretty serious and you explore the characters, but for the most part this is just a great comedy. It's really tricky to pull off comedy in reading form sometimes, but this just nails it, mainly with the reactions of the characters for the punchline. I don't really have much more to say about this other than do yourself a favor and just have a good time. You deserve it.
The face. Okay. You got me kind of sold on that face. That was kind of funny.
I actually had no idea this was a manhwa. Aisha's Secret is another story I covered in a previous video. The art once again.
Save your time with CC character bases. Well-balanced topology. Works with ZBrush, Blender, and other 3D platforms. Fully rigged and ready for facial and body animation. Download now for free.
Okay. Aiming to add that in the video.
Again caught my eye, which you will notice is a rather common occurrence for this video, but for an 11-chapter story, this is a great murder mystery, with the sick twist as long as you don't pay attention to the cover art too much. Sorry. But this follows a girl that is killed off by a member of her family, and now that family member believes they are going insane because she shows up alive again. It's actually just one big gaslighting session. So it is uncovering the mystery of how the hell is this chick alive that is the big catch. I do feel, however, that this would benefit a lot from a novel of some sort. Really, anything that expands upon some of the interesting characters we get very little time with. I tend to really like murder mysteries and thrillers, so I'll just point out my bias there. And I can't exactly remember what my feelings were about this 2 years ago, but after revisiting it, I don't think it's necessarily the best one out there, but it is so worth your time for how quick of a read it is. If you like action, then this one might tickle your fancy. City of Darkness, which follows the main character who fights other gangs, but then he's betrayed by his own boss who kills the other members of his gang and the main character's mom. So now revenge is needed as the MC assembles a crew of the best fighters to make a comeback and beat the man that took what mattered to him in life. I'll get the positives out of the way. The fights are really good and the artwork is style-wise one of my favorites ever. That is where the positives end for me.
It has a
I think a lot of the characters are cool, but that's about it.
Like has a early 80s, like a late 90s, early 80s look, the way it's drawn.
Overall, I felt the story just didn't hook me strong enough in comparison to something like Feng Shengji with the main character or any of the side characters by the time part 1 ends. And since this series has 2 parts, the main conflict is dealt with, which was my only real motivation to keep reading the series. And even then, I found the antagonist of this part of the story to be really uninteresting. I don't know if everyone will get the pro wrestling terms I'm going to use here, but the storyline had a really cool concept but failed to make me like the face enough to make me want to see him win, and it failed to make me hate the heel enough to make me want to see him lose. The conclusion was also really weak, and so overall it just failed to give me any real reason to read the other 50 chapters that exist for part 2. However, when it comes to stuff like this, I always encourage people to check it out for themselves if they think it is interesting, and if any of you have read part 2 to this and think it's a major improvement from part 1, let me know in the comments. The goal for these types of videos is to recommend stuff that catches your eye regardless of my opinion, so if you end up finding more value in this than I did, awesome.
Thank you though, I do appreciate this. Don't feel bad. Keep practicing. I know practice is usually a hard thing to do. It's just getting around to this problem. That's Gamble.
From action to romance, Summer Bloom follows a chick who ends up working at a flower shop, and the guy that works there can bring dead flowers back to life temporarily. She is a sweet, kind individual with a lot of social awkwardness, and the male lead is a cold, harsh individual who is also very socially awkward. Misunderstandings are the name of the game with this one. This was a wholesome romance with some good mystery for the most part, but I don't think this is for me. It wasn't bad at first, but once the other romantic interest is introduced, the story just takes a turn that I couldn't really be invested in, which leads to a conclusion that was rather disappointing, although the development of the characters is solid. I just think most who will read this will be greatly interested at first, but I won't guarantee that by the end. Still, if you're new to romance series, then this one might not be a bad one to start off with, and then you can move on to some better ones. I know this isn't the most convincing, but it's worth throwing out there. Looking for Clotho. I'll completely be honest, this story had me, lost me, and then really had me. The reason why that is it switches main characters like 3 times in 7 chapters, and then the story ties them all together. So it starts off with a shut-in trying to find out about a girl in his dreams, and then eventually he finds a contract with the date of her death and a contract with his name on it also. He goes missing for a while, which causes his worried parents to call the police, which ties into this cop whose fiance went missing a long time ago, and then that ties into this guy who works for a company that ensures people die when they are supposed to. Sounds complicated? That's because it is for a bit, and it kind of gets more complicated. But this was a really good mystery that gains more clarity as it goes on, and managed to get me invested into the characters with some really strong twists and emotional scenes. I really like the subtle way it went about that at times, and if a story is able to emotionally get me connected to multiple characters that quickly, then I'm in for the ride to the end. I think the concept of an Amazon worker Grim Reaper is hilarious when I say it out loud, but presents an interesting moral dilemma with that character that allowed me to be intrigued and have a reason to see this out.
Says Goku.
Says I heard that.
Funny.
I actually saw art from this a long time ago, and I was surprised to find out that it wasn't just an amazing piece, but instead of one of many that came from a series called Ghostblade, currently at around 11 chapters. A brief summary is long ago an angel was murdered by a greedy human, which caused the angels to lash out in a grand conflict. 200 years have passed, and now in order to prevent a war, a princess who is most likely a said angel tries to turn herself in. That way war is prevented. However, before she gets the chance, she is kidnapped by the mysterious Ghostblade. We then follow the two as they travel the lands, and the mystery of both characters slowly unravels. The artwork is sensational. There isn't anything else that I've read that looks like this, and it really allows for it to be memorable just from the visuals alone. I think the storytelling at first might throw some people off, since the story seems to give so little at first, especially in terms of dialogue, which leads to small moments here and there where the character seems to say more than they should. A certain scene in particular being where Ghostblade gives his thoughts on saving a person. I felt that scene would have benefited from a more natural back and forth, but that improves quickly as the story goes on. Personally, chapters 4 and 7 were really strong chapters of showing the character's personality and building up the mystery in a visually powerful way. If there was one critique I could see for this, is that the story does move very quickly, and it can feel like there are things in between missing that would really help flesh things out more. But it is very early on, so I'm sure that will get handled later. Still, it does jump around a good amount. Overall, I'm super hooked, and there's a huge amount of potential with the characters and their dynamics, along with tying in the past, which the story opens up with in the present world today. You can check this out and support the artist via Tapas, Webtoon, and more specifically their Patreon. I need to see how this story pans out, and I'm hoping that I'm able to bring more eyes to this amazing project. Hopefully one of these was really able to catch your eye. I do want to say real quick, thank you all so much for the support on the recent videos. It's been tremendous to hear your feedback and how much you have all been enjoying them. I will say that there is a Patreon for the channel where we're doing watch parties every Sunday. We're starting to watch Dragon Ball from the very beginning. We're only about 6 episodes in, as well as it's a great way to support the channel and help things really keep going, so I'm able to, put out stuff like this a little more consistently. As well as there is merch for the channel if you are interested. But now that I'm done self-plugging, thank you all again for watching. Hope you enjoyed. This has been The Masked Man. Hope everyone has a blessed rest of the day, and peace.
Alright, that's the end of that. So, that was the end of that 8 manga to get started from. I'm gonna finish this off after this anyway. So, like, subscribe, share, follow, and comment. I'll talk to you guys next time. I'm gonna call it a night for tonight. Thank you guys for coming in. I'll have to get these videos ready for tomorrow or so. So with that said, have a great night, guys. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. I think tomorrow, as much as I don't want to say it, we'll have to still play the game tomorrow because we need to finish the sponsorship, even though no one I gotta do it for at least a few days more. At least a day or two more.
Samurai.
And then we'll jump off it.
Good night, everyone.
So, alright, have a great night, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Laters. Boop.